Uranus lines can be finally the line where you feel free or where your nervous system says, what the hell is going on? And this is exactly why generalized astrocartography planetary lines meanings are not enough. Most astrocartography content out there, videos, will tell you the general meaning of the planetary lines. They will tell you the sun is where you shine, the moon is where you feel at home, Venus is where you find love, Jupiter is where you experience abundance, Saturn is hard work, Mars is conflict, Mercury is communication, Uranus is rebellion or instability, and Neptune is confusion. And all of that is true, but it is also incomplete because that is only describing the archetype of each of those planetary lines. It does not tell you how that planetary line will play out for you. For example, Uranus brings freedom, right? But freedom, where exactly? Is it in your beliefs, in your spirituality, or is it freedom when it comes to relationships? For one person, one rising sign, it can bring and activate freedom and reinvention, like I said, in relationships, meaning they can go there and all of a sudden, maybe they're interested in open relationships. That is possible. Uranus does have that effect. Not for everybody, but for some signs. For another, it can activate career and public reinvention, meaning they will go on this line and all of a sudden they want to reinvent their career path. Or maybe all of a sudden they're interested in IT, tech, because Uranus ruins tech, technology, AI, and so on. So if we just say Uranus is where you feel free or reinvent, we are missing the deeper answer of what Uranus line can bring for us. The actual question that you want to ask and think about when you look at these lines is, what area of life is this line activating for me? So in the case of Uranus, where are you being asked to liberate yourself? This is why two people can move to the exact same Uranus line and have completely different experiences because that planet is not activating the same area of life for both people. So, in this series, I am giving you a deeper dive into how I interpret astrocartography lines by looking at the priority line through the rising sign. And what I'm doing basically is looking at what this planet rules in your chart. This will give me the second deeper layer of how each of those planetary lines will play out for you. For example, the sun is where you shine. For me, as a Scorpio rising, the sun rules the 10th house. Therefore, the sun is going to shed light and give me attention, visibility when it comes to my career. For someone else, it could be like a Leo rising, will be their physical appearance. Okay, this is where you are seen. Yes, I will also be seen, but especially when it comes to my career. So, welcome to my Astrocartography Planetary series, where I tell you how each of the planetary lines will play out for you based on your rising sign. And today we are talking about Uranus. So, as always, let's start with the archetype of Uranus. Uranus represents freedom, liberation, sudden change, awakening, disruption, independence, rebellion, innovation, technology, astrology, and conventional choices, and breaking out of old identities. Uranus line can be incredible if you want to reinvent yourself, start over, leave an old version of your life, become more independent, experiment, renovate, meet unusual people, or finally stop living by other people's rules. I love that part. But Uranus is not always comfortable. Uranus moves fast. It can bring sudden changes, instability, restlessness, unexpected opportunities, unexpected endings, nervous system activation for sure, detachment, rebellion, and the feeling that you can no longer live the way you used to. So, the question I want you to ask yourself when it comes to this line is not whether Uranus is bad or good line. A lot of people see Uranus as a bad line because it's known also as the planet of instability. Yes, it is. I mean, if it's going to bring sudden changes, yes, that can be shaky, that can bring instability, but that's what helps us to break free. And some of us need to break free. Okay, the question I want you to ask is, what area of life is Uranus liberating for me? Okay, and the second question I want you to think about is, do I have the capacity for this much freedom, changes, and predictability and reinvention in this season of life? For example, if Uranus is linked to your career, and so this is the area of life that it can bring sudden changes and stability, and you're not in a season of life to reinvent, or you're happy with what you do career wise, then do not go to Uranus. It will be unstable and a difficult, challenging, annoying line for you. However, if Uranus is linked to an area of life that you want to shake up, reinvent, maybe it's yourself, maybe you're Aquarius rising and you want to reinvent yourself, or you want to break free from something, then Uranus line can be fun. If it rules your seventh house, yes, it can bring unusual people. It can make you explore and think about open relationships, for example, unconventional relationships. But it can also bring you people when you least expected it. Okay? It can break you free from the patterns or the way you've been having relationships, and maybe that is what's going wrong when it comes to your love life. So that's what I want you to have. This is how I want you to look at each of those planes. What is this planet activating in my chart? That's the first question. Do I want to play with that area of life? Do I want to shake it up? Do I want to shine light into this? If the answer to both questions is yes, then go to that line. So without further ado, let's get into the 12 rising signs and how Uranus is going to play out for you. Aries rising. For you, Aries rising, Uranus line will most likely activate friendships, community, networks, audiences, social media, collaborations, long-term goals, and your future vision. This can be a powerful line for meeting unusual people, joining unconventional communities, or attracting friendships that completely change the direction of your life. You may feel connected to your future self here. Your goals may shift quickly. You may no longer want the same dreams, the same community, or the same version of success. That can be destabilizing for sure, but it can also be what you need. So just keep that in mind before going to the line. This can be amazing for social media, technology, astrology, entrepreneurship, innovation, group work, or building an audience around something different. But your friendships may become unstable or unpredictable. You may outgrow people quickly on here. You may feel like you no longer belong in spaces that once made sense. You may attract brilliant, exciting people, but not always consistent ones. The way to work with this line is to give yourself permission to evolve socially without burning every bridge. Join new rooms, experiment with your vision, build online, collaborate with people who expand your mind, but do not confuse temporary excitement with long-term alignment. This line can liberate your future, but it can also ask you to stop needing everyone to come with you. Taurus rising. For you, Uranus line will most likely activate career, reputation, public visibility, leadership, authority, status, and your professional identity. This can be a major career reinvention line for you. You may feel called to leave a traditional path, change industries, start your own business, become more visible online, or do work that feels more innovative, unconventional, or future forward. Your public image may change quickly here. People may see you differently. You may become known for something unexpected. You may feel less willing to follow professional rules that feel outdated or limiting. This can be powerful for entrepreneurs, people in tech, astrology, social media, thought leadership, or any career where being different is part of your medicine. But this line can also bring instability in career, sudden job changes, public pivots, authority issues, or feeling restless with your professional direction may come up. The way to work with this line is to innovate, without being reckless. Give yourself room to pivot, but create a strategy. Update your brand. Try new formats. Launch the unconventional offer. Speak from your unique perspective, but do not blow up your career just because you are bored. This line can help you become known for what makes you different, but freedom still needs a structure if you want it to become sustainable. Gemini rising. For you, Uranus line will most likely activate travel, higher education, spirituality. My light is playing around. I don't know if that is a sign, but let's keep going. Spirituality, teaching, publishing, foreign cultures, beliefs, and your worldview. This can be a powerful place for awakening. You may feel drawn to travel somewhere completely different here. Study unconventional subjects, explore astrology, spirituality, philosophy, technology, or alternative ways of understanding life. Your beliefs may change quickly here. You may realize that what you were taught no longer fits who you are becoming. This can be amazing for teachers publishing international work, studying astrology, creating content, your beliefs, or sharing a perspective that challenges the norm. But this line can bring restlessness. All Uranus lines can do so. So we must take care of our nervous system in here. We must take care of our body here. We must make sure that we're pacing ourselves. You may feel like you constantly need to move, travel, learn, escape, or chase the next revelation. You may rebel against every belief system, teacher, or structure simply because you do not want to be contained. The way to work with this line is to let your mind expand without becoming and grounded. So, travel consciously, study deeply, question everything, but do not reject wisdom just because it has a structure. This line can liberate your worldview, but not every awakening requires you to throw your entire life away. Cancer rising. For you, Cancer, your Uranus line will most likely activate intimacy, shared finances, trust, debt, investment, inheritance, sexuality, emotional vulnerability, and transformation. This can be a deeply liberating but intense line for you. You may experience sudden shifts around intimacy, money, power, trust, or emotional entanglement. This may be a place where you break free from emotional dependency, toxic attachment, control, dynamics, or relationships where you no longer feel emotionally free. Your relationships with sexuality, vulnerability, and shared resources may change here. You may become less willing to merge with people out of fear, obligation, or survival. This can be powerful for financial independence, healing attachment patterns, shadow work, or reclaiming power from situations where you felt trapped. But it can also bring sudden financial changes, unexpected expenses, unstable intimacy, or relationships that feel exciting but unpredictable. The way for you to work with this line is to create freedom without creating chaos. Have financial backup. Put agreements in writing. Be honest about intimacy. Do not confuse emotional detachment with healing. This line can liberate you from deep patterns, but it will also ask you to stop relying on instability to feel alive. Leo rising. For you, Uranus line will most likely activate relationships, marriage, clients, contracts, collaborations, and one-to-one partnership. This can be a powerful relationship awakening line. You may attract unconventional people, exciting partners, unusual clients, or relationships that completely disrupt your expectations of love, business, or connection. You may also become less willing to perform, please, or stay in relationships where you do not feel free. This line can bring sudden attractions, sudden breakups, unconventional partnerships, or people who help you see yourself in a completely different way. It can be exciting, liberating, and electric, but it can also feel unstable. Relationships may feel harder to define here. People may come in quickly and leave quickly. You may crave connection and freedom at the same time. The way to work with this line is to be honest about your need for space. Do not confuse chemistry with compatibility, and do not reject commitment just because it feels unfamiliar. This line can teach you a new way of relating, but the goal is not chaos. The goal is relationships where you can fully be yourself. For you, Leo Rising, this can be a great line if you are into unconventional relationships, if you're into open relationships, if you're in an exploring season. However, if you're in a committed relationships, this can be a line where you want to explore other relationships. And so it can be, just keep in mind that it can be a challenging line if you are in a committed relationship, because it brings this feeling of, I want to be free, but maybe I want to be in a relationship. That's why Uranus is, it's freedom. And for you, Aquarius is your seventh house, meaning Uranus rules your seventh house. And so that's where you could feel, I want relationship, but I also want freedom. Like, you're the one here who can be the unstable one, okay? Who's the flaky one? Just being honest with you. Virgo rising. For you, Uranus line will most likely activate work, health, routines, habits, service, daily responsibility, and your relationship with your body. This can completely disrupt your everyday life. Out of all the lines, I would say Virgo, this is, for Virgo risings, this is going to be a challenging line. Let me break it down. I'm not saying this is bad, just giving you a heads up that yes, this can be probably the most challenging line, because it's bringing disruptions and sudden changes to your day-to-day life, to your health, and to your routines. So work can be unstable here. Health can be unstable here. I literally had one of my clients who had health problems the moment she moved to her Uranus line. This Uranus rules your sixth house. That's where this shakeup is happening. And so just keep that in mind. This can be really, out of all the lines, the line where your nervous system is fried, your body is fried. So please just keep this in mind. You may feel called to change your schedule here, leave a job, like you can't sit still, start freelancing, work in tech, astrology, or online spaces, or create a lifestyle gives you more freedom. Yes, that can happen, and that is beautiful. But even if these things do happen, there's still this restlessness in your everyday life. This is why I love astrocartography and the power of becoming aware of how different locations are compatible with us. Okay, knowing that, for example, I'm on a Uranus line as a Virgo rising is going to help me to put things in order. If you can move, and that's what you want. But just know that in here, you're going to crave freedom, first of all, in your day-to-day life. But even when you create freedom, you want even more freedom. And regardless, your nervous system can get a bit more challenged in here, because that's where it's getting stimulated. So taking care of your health, having a structure, a routine that is also giving you freedom is really important here. You're going to really have to work with this line here. This can be beautiful and powerful line for entrepreneurship, remote work, innovation, wellness experiments, alternative healing. That's probably the best use of this line, or breaking out of work patterns that have kept you trapped. But Uranus can also be activating for your nervous system. Like I said, your sleep, digestion, stress levels, or body rhythms may become more sensitive to instability here. Work may feel unpredictable. Your schedule may change constantly. Most likely, you may struggle to maintain consistency. And that's why I say you most likely want to move out of this line, because the house it's challenging. It's not a house that you want to bring instability to. The way to work with this line for you is to create flexible structure. Have structure, but a flexible structure. Give yourself variety, but keep your body anchored. Okay, we all love this flexibility. Maybe a lot of us like this flexibility, but you can be a night owl one night and then the next day an early morning person. Your body does need some routine for it to be optimal. So prioritize sleep, move your body, limit overstimulation, create systems that can adapt when life changes. And going back to limiting overstimulation, maybe stay away from caffeines. Maybe you will notice that you're a lot more sensitive to caffeines in here. Okay? Maybe a way to work with this is to start a yoga practice to calm yourself down. But yeah, small things like limiting your caffeine or removing caffeine can help you a lot in here. Also, use screen time in here. You'll feel yourself a lot more sensitive to technology here and to caffeines. All in all, this line can free your day life, but your body still needs rhythm. Libra rising. Uranus line will most likely activate creativity, romance, pleasure, children, self expression, and visibility through your talents and your inner child. Meaning, this can be a wildly creative and liberating line for you. You may feel inspired to express yourself in ways that feel more original, bold, rebellious, or unconventional. This can be a really fun line for you, in comparison to like the previous sign I just did, Virgo rising. This can be like mentally and nervous system activating all over the place line. For you, this can be fun. Creative ideas may come suddenly. You may want to experiment with art, content, performance, fashion, dating, or completely new way of being seen. Romance may feel electric here. You may attract unusual people, sudden chemistry, or relationships that awaken parts of you that were bored, asleep, or overly controlled. But this line can also bring inconsistency in romance and creativity. You may start projects suddenly and abandon them as quickly, so keep that in mind. You may crave excitement in love but struggle with stability. The way to work with this line is to let yourself experiment without making every spark your entire identity. Create freely, date consciously, try new things, and let your inner child play, but do not confuse chaos with passion. Just like Leo rising, I would say Libra rising, for you, you could be the flaky, inconsistent partner in this line. Unless you're into unconventional open relationships, if that's you, go for it. But if you're someone who's monogamous or in a relationship, this can be a line where you're like a little bit of the naughty one here who wants freedom, who all of a sudden is maybe looking at the other, looking outside her relationship or his relationship. Just keep that in mind. This is what Uranus does. But like I said, do not confuse chaos with passion. This line can help you rediscover your creative genius, but it works best when you allow yourself to be different without becoming addicted to unpredictability. Scorpio rising. For you, Uranus line will most likely activate home, family, roots, ancestry, emotional foundation, property, and private life. This can be a major relocation and emotional liberation line. You may feel an intense need to break free from family patterns, change your living situation, move somewhere unexpected, or create a home that reflects who you are now, not who you were conditioned to be. Your private life may change quickly here. You may not be able to live with the same way anymore. This can be powerful for leaving old roots, create an unconventional home, living abroad, working remotely, or liberating yourself from ancestral expectations. I'm feeling this so strongly, and I'm going to share with you my Uranus line experience. But going back to you, what I want to also say is that this line can also feel destabilizing emotionally. Home may not feel settled. Family dynamics may become unpredictable. You may feel restless, detached, or unable to fully relax. The way to work with this line is to build emotional safety inside change. Create grounding rituals. Keep your home nervous system friendly. Have flexible plan. Do not move impulsively just because you feel trapped. This line can free you from old foundations, but your body still needs somewhere safe to land. Okay, so I lived on my Uranus ascendant line in China, and that's where I had my spiritual awakening. That's where a lot of my spiritual journey, I guess, started. It did rock my foundation. And we spoke a little bit here about unconventional ancestral expectation, family expectations. I come from a Middle Eastern family, having a spiritual awakening, letting go of religion. These are big, big things that have shake up my roots, because if I am not my identity I was born with, my religion, my family, then who am I? So that's what I want to say with the Uranus line. But really, as I'm reading this, I guess the most recent experience I can share is my Uranus descendant line. As a Scorpio rising, this rules our fourth house. And guess what? Uranus descendant line is where I met my husband. My husband comes from a different religion than me. And so, yes, was that fun? Was that exciting? Yes, but it was also destabilizing. My family does not speak to me because of who I chose to marry. But regardless, even if I didn't pick that person to marry, my foundation is shaking because me from the inside has changed. This is what happens in a Uranus line, especially as Scorpio risings. For me, signing that paper, getting married is like stamping, saying out loud to the world, yes, my roots are different. I am different. I don't want to live this way like my parents have, or the way I was conditioned, the way I was taught I should be living. It's the way I want to live is different than my parents. So maybe I didn't do a great job of explaining it, but I just wanted to share that for me, it bought me my husband. It also bought me my career. That's where I started my business. And hey, coming from a Middle Eastern family where astrology is a sin, is black magic, seen as black magic, that's also another way of destabilizing. So as destabilized my family and my roots by picking who I choose to marry, and also by deciding what I do for work. Was it painful? Of course, it was painful for both sides, especially for me because I'm the one who lost all of them right now as I'm making this video. But it was also really freeing because it was either going to be me coming out and being free and losing them, or me hiding the real me. And I'm gonna try and not be emotional. Me hide the real me and live in secret. And I'm glad I did the harder part. Anyways, let's go to Sagittarius rising. For you, Sagittarius rising, Uranus line will most likely activate communication, writing, learning, sibling, local environment, social media, ideas, and your voice. This can be a brilliant line for original thinking. Your mind may become faster, sharper, and more innovative. You may feel inspired to write, speak, teach, create content, podcasts, study astrology, learn technology, or share ideas that disrupt the way people think. Your voice may become more rebellious here. You may no longer want to say what is expected. You may want to say what is true. This can be powerful for content creation, social media, writing, teaching, networking, and building a message around your unique perspective. But Uranus can also overstimulate your mind. You may feel scattered, anxious, restless, or constantly plugged into too much information. Conversations may become unpredictable. Sibling or local dynamics may shift suddenly. The way for you to work with this line is to capture your ideas without letting your mind run wild. Write things down, create content, speak the truth, but also take breaks from the screen, noise, and constant stimulation. This line can liberate your voice, but your nervous system needs space from all that electricity. Capricorn rising. For you, Uranus line will most likely activate money, self-worth, values, talents, possessions, and material stability. This can be a financial liberating line, but can also bring some instability and chaos financial wise. You may feel called to make money in a more unconventional way, leave the traditional income structures, start a business, work online, use technology, or monetize a unique talent. Your values may change here. Things you used to want may no longer feel worth the cost. You may become less willing to trade your freedom for financial security. This can be powerful life for entrepreneurship, digital work, innovation, technology, astrology, investing in your unique skills, or breaking out of scarcity patterns. But money can also feel unpredictable. Income can fluctuate. Spending may become impulsive. You may make sudden financial decisions because you want freedom now. The way to work with this line is to create financial flexibility without abandoning stability. Build savings, diversify your income, monetize your originality, invest in skills that make you more independent. But do not confuse financial rebellion with financial empowerment. This line can help you free your money story, but freedom is more powerful when it has a plan. Aquarius rising. For you, Aquarius rising, this line, Uranus line, will most likely activate your identity, your body, your confidence, your appearance, your personal direction, and the way you move through the world. But because Uranus is your modern ruler, this can be one of the most personal lines experiences for you. I mean, it rules you. This is who you are. This may be a place where you reinvent yourself completely. You may feel more independent, electric, different, rebellious, creative, and unwilling to fit into old identities. People may see you as more unusual, magnetic, and predictable or ahead of your time. I mean, naturally, you are that, but in here, whew, times 100. This can be powerful for personal liberation, entrepreneurship, astrology, technology, visibility, reinvention, and stepping into a version of yourself that no longer needs permission. But your nervous system may also feel highly activated in here. Your body may respond strongly to the pace of the place. You may feel restless, detached, or unable to stay consistent with who you used to be. The way to work with this line is to give yourself freedom with grounding. Change your style, change your work, change your identity. Let yourself evolve, but keep your body regulated. Sleep, move, eat properly, take breaks from constant stimulation, constant screen time. Do not make sudden impulsive life decisions. This line can awaken your most liberated self, but your freedom still needs a body that can hold it. And lastly, Pisces rising. For you, Pisces, Uranus line will most likely activate solitude, spirituality, dreams, subconscious patterns, hidden fears, endings, healing, and the unseen world. This can be an intense line for you, Pisces. This can be a deeply spiritually and unpredictable line. I mean, this can be a spiritual awakening line. You may experience sudden intuitive downloads, spiritual awakening, like I said, vivid dreams, unusual insights, or a strong desire to disconnect from the noise of the outside world. Because it rules your 12th house, this can be a place where you spend more time behind the scenes, craving more rest, more solitude. This is Uranus line, so it's not shining light on the subconscious. This is bringing electricity into the subconscious, to your patterns, to your fears, blockages. It can feel strange, it can feel isolating or hard to explain. You may feel restless in solitude. Sleep may become disrupted. Your nervous system may process things you do not fully understand yet. Hidden patterns, self sabotage, or unconscious fears may suddenly come to the surface. The way to work with this line for you is to ground your spiritual awakening in the body. Write down your dreams, meditate, rest, limit overstimulation, spend time near water or ocean. Get support if your inner world becomes too loud, meaning therapy. Okay? Do not isolate yourself as a way to escape life. This line can free you from invisible patterns, but freedom still needs integration. And that's it, you guys. Please remember, this is only a peek into how I interpret the astrocartography lines. Looking at Uranus line through the rising sign is more personal than relying on the general meaning of Uranus line. Like I said, this is only the archetype. When we say Uranus is instability and predictability, like where. So hopefully from watching this video, you get a deeper understanding of how Uranus line will play out for you, like what area of life is going to be liberated or reinvented. But still, this is general. Your Uranus line will ultimately play out based on your unique birth chart, the condition of Uranus, the aspect it has, the relocation chart that tells us the full story. Having Uranus line on the ascendant or the descendant is going to be completely different. Your timing, and most importantly, your goal. Remember, there is no such thing as a good or bad line. I don't believe in a good or bad line. And there's no perfect location or ideal location. Your best location is the place that supports the goals you are moving towards in this current season of your life. Astrocartography to me was never about finding the perfect place or the good line, the best line. It is about understanding what each place activates in you and choosing the environment that supports who you are becoming. And that's it for this video. I will see you in the next one.